Today we will be focusing on one-step linear equations. Remember inverse operations undo each other. Addition and subtraction are inverse operations. Adding to and subtracting to undo the operation. Multiplication, division are inverse operations. They undo each other. So the simplest type of equations only have one operation, and that's what we're working on today. Your goal is always to get the variable on a side by itself, even with more complicated equations. And yes, I know that many of you can get the answer in your head, but this is all about showing your work, using the properties of equality. So the steps. The first thing you need to do is show what you're doing on both sides. So we separate the two sides. You find your variable. So right here is your variable. It says minus 10, so we are going to add 10 to both sides. And so you are showing what you're doing on each side. And then you're going to simplify. So you're going to bring everything down. So x minus 10 plus 10 leaves just x because the 10's cancel out. And 35 plus 10 is 45. So now we have the variable on one side and a number on the other. So we're going to check that by substituting it back in. So we're going to take what we think the variable is. We think now it's 45. We're going to plug it back into the original equation. So instead of x minus 10 equals 35, we're going to put that 45 in for x. 45 minus 10 equals 35. It makes a true statement, so it works. So this is your answer. Let's do some more practice problems. So you always start by finding your variable. Here's the x. So I'm going to separate the sides. The 6 is being added to x, so I'm going to subtract 6. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. So that cancels out. I'm left with x. 30 minus 6 is 24. So now I think my answer is 24. I'm going to put it back into the original equation to check. 30, does that equal 6 plus 24? It does. So that checks out, and this is our answer. Example 2. This means 7 times x. If there is a coefficient right in front of x, then that means multiplication. So you undo multiplication by dividing. So we're going to divide by 7. So x, we think, is 35 divided by 7, which is 5. We'll check it by plugging it back in. 7 times 5, does that equal 35? It does, so we know this is our answer. You start by finding your variable. So here's my variable. It says minus 8, so we know that we need to add 8 to both sides. If you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other. That's the principles of equality. So the minus 8 plus 8 cancels out. I'm left with x equals 22 plus 8 is 30. So I'm going to plug that back in to check. 30 minus 8, does that equal 22? It does. So this, I believe, is my answer. And the last example. 4. This means x divided by 3. So if there's a line underneath, it means divided by 3. So you get rid of a dividing by 3 by multiplying by 3. And I write this one off to the side so I can see that these cancel out. I'm left with x on this side of the equation. 30 times 3 is 90. So I'm going to check to see if that's right. 90 divided by 3 does equal 30. It checks out, and this is my answer. Let's do 4 more examples. You need to find your variable. Here's the x. There's something right in front of it, so that means multiplication. So I am going to divide to get rid of it. And we're going to use that symbol for dividing, not this one. So I'm going to divide by a -3. Be very careful to not drop negatives. So if I divide by -3 on one side, I have to divide by -3 on the other side. That cancels out. So you're left with x equals 30 divided by a -3. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. I'm going to plug it back in. -3 times a -10, does that equal 30? Negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 10 is 30. So -10 is my answer. Example 6. Divide the sides. Find the variable. There's my variable. It says plus 10. So I am going to subtract 10. If I subtract 10 on one side, I have to on the other. So x equals 90. I'm going to plug it back in to see if it works. 90 plus 10 does equal 100. So this is my answer. Example 7. Here's my variable. It says minus 18. So we are going to add 18. If we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other. That cancels, so we have x on one side. 40 plus 18 is 58. So I'm going to check it over here. 58 minus 18 does equal 40. So here's my answer. And the very last example, 8. Remember that once you find your variable, see what operation is being performed on it. It's divided by 4, so we need to multiply by 4 to get rid of it. And I write the multiplication off to the side so I can see that this cancels out. So I have x equals 80. And I'm going to write this check step a little different. For those of you that need to do your division like this, 4 goes into 8 2 times. 4 goes into 0 0 times. So 80 divided by 4 is 20. That checks out. So that is my answer.